Welcome to the future.
Welcome to 1337, the future of podcast of longevity. I'm Max, your host, always diving into the science of living longer.
And I'm Sophia, here to explore those health hacks and ageless living tips. You know, the stuff that really helps us unlock a vibrant, extended life.
Exactly. And today we're going deep, really deep into something that's incredibly relevant to a lot of you listening. And honestly, something everyone should have a grasp on. The menopause brain.
You know, you sent us this really fascinating YouTube transcript featuring Dr. Lisa Mosconi. She's a neuroscientist who's revolutionizing how we understand menopause. So today's mission, if you choose to accept it, is to unpack this research and figure out what it all means for you, for your health, for your life.
We'll be exploring the surprising, sometimes shocking neurological impacts of menopause, the common misperceptions that unfortunately still surround it, and most importantly, what can be done to navigate this, let's be honest, pretty significant life transition.
It's a big one, yeah.
It's huge. So to kick things off, Dr. Mosconi, right out of the gate, points to this major historical oversight, how menopause has been viewed pretty much solely as the end of fertility.
Right. And her research flips that script entirely. She's like, hold on, menopause is a major neurological event too. She calls it, and I love this, a renovation project on the brain. And that reframing is huge, right? It validates the changes you might be feeling, telling you it's not all in your head. There's a lot more going on beyond just the reproductive shifts.
Exactly. It's not a small thing either. Dr. Mosconi highlights that two-thirds of women going through menopause experience brain fog.
Mm-hmm.
Alongside those, let's call them more advertised symptoms, like the hot flashes, the insomnia, the anxiety, and the depression, there's this massive neurological component impacting the majority of women.
It's wild. And, it makes you think about how much women's health and specifically the neurological aspects of menopause have been, underestimated, maybe even dismissed throughout history.
Oh, absolutely.
Dr. Mosconi even points out that the term hysteria, it literally has roots in this antiquated, ridiculous idea of female psychological instability linked to, guess what? The uterus. It's come on.
It's a stark reminder of how far we need to go.
Yeah.
Right? To really, truly understand women's health. She brings up another really critical point about health disparities, how Black and Hispanic women might experience even more severe menopause symptoms.
Oh, yeah.
That underscores the urgent need for more research that includes diverse populations, so we can strive for a more equitable understanding of this stage of life for everyone, not just a select few.
Absolutely. And it begs the question, why haven't these neurological symptoms been more widely recognized, talked about? What Dr. Mosconi is doing is groundbreaking because she's not just relying on women's reports on what they're telling their doctors. She's showing with brain scans that there are measurable biological changes happening in the brain.
That's a game changer, really. Speaking of brain changes, Dr. Mosconi mentions how her team conducted the first ever brain scans, directly comparing pre- and post-menopausal brains. That visual evidence is powerful.
It is. And what's so revealing is that these scans show a significant, a 30% drop in brain energy levels after menopause. So when you're feeling that mental fatigue, that's not just you being tired. There's a real shift happening, a reduction in your brain's energy supply.
So that feeling of not being yourself, of being mentally drained, it's not just in your head. There's a real biological reason behind it.
Exactly. And it's not just energy levels. Dr. Mosconi's research shows menopause impacts the brain's structure, its volume, the connectivity between different regions, will they talk to each other, and even the blood flow, which is crucial for carrying oxygen and nutrients. It's a whole brain remodel.
So we need to think about menopause as a process, not just a single date on the calendar, right? Dr. Mosconi breaks it down into 3 key stages, which can be helpful to understand where you might be on this journey.
Totally. The first stage, premenopause, is marked by those regular menstrual cycles, though even here, there can be early and late phases with subtle changes you might notice.
Then comes perimenopause, also called the menopausal transition. This is when those periods start to get irregular and those hormone levels are all over the place.
Right. It's a roller coaster.
It is. Dr. Mosconi says this typically starts in the mid to late 40s. Average age around 47, but it can last anywhere from 2 to Get this, 14 years. It's a long and often unpredictable ride.
And what's important is that perimenopause is often when those brain-related symptoms kick in, even before your final period. Early on, it might be difficulty sleeping, probably due to progesterone dropping and maybe some brain fog that seems linked to your cycle.
But as it progresses, you start skipping periods more frequently, 3 months or more apart. And that's when those more well-known symptoms, the hot flashes, the night sweats, the mood swings, the irritability, and of course, the brain fog and forgetfulness can become more intense.
Yeah. And don't forget the other less talked about symptoms Dr. Mosconi mentions, like vaginal dryness, potential weight gain, metabolism slowing down, digestive issues, that overactive bladder, muscle tension, ringing in the ears, even electric shock sensations, panic attacks for some. It's a whole spectrum of experiences.
And then finally, you reach postmenopause, officially starting 1 year after your final period and lasting, well, for the rest of your life. The early phase can still be tough, but Dr. Mosconi says symptoms tend to ease up in the later stage, around 6 years post-menopause.
Thank goodness for that.
Right. But what's really fascinating is the system behind all these changes. Dr. Mosconi talks about the neuroendocrine system, this connection between your brain and your ovaries. You're born with it, it gets going during puberty, super active in pregnancy, dials down postpartum, and then after menopause, it's like dismantling time.
It's kind of sad in a way.
It is. But the takeaway here is that your brain and ovaries, they're in constant communication throughout your life, talking via hormones like estrogen, progesterone, even a bit of testosterone.
And these hormones, Dr. Mosconi stresses this, they're not just for making babies. They're crucial for your brain health, your energy levels. That's a big point that's been overlooked for far too long.
Especially when it comes to estrogen. Dr. Mosconi calls estradiol, a type of estrogen, the master regulator of women's brains.
It's a great way to put it.
It is. It fuels brain activity, helps those neurons connect, boosts blood flow, protects the brain, enhances its plasticity, meaning its ability to adapt, and even helps neurons burn glucose for energy. It's like the brain's VIP.
Totally. But then, during peri and postmenopause, estradiol production plummets. A weaker form of estrogen, estrone, takes over. So, as Dr. Mosconi puts it, the brain's orchestra keeps playing, but the music, well, it's different.
You can feel the shift.
Absolutely. And that shift is linked to brain fog, which Dr. Mosconi says affects up to 62% of women in the menopausal transition.
It's more than just forgetting where you put your keys. She describes it as feeling like your brain isn't fully on, impacting memory, concentration, focus, even language, like that tip of the tongue thing.
And what's validating is that brain scans are finally showing these subjective experiences, the things women have been telling their doctors for years, are linked to actual biological changes.
It's proof.
Yep.
So it really is a rewiring of the brain happening during menopause.
It is. Think of it as a renovation project, remember?
Right, right.
Brain areas like the hypothalamus, which regulates body temperature, are affected by the fluctuating estrogen and progesterone, hence the hot flashes. Some areas may shrink, others change how they connect. It's complex.
And then there's the ATP crisis she mentions. Now, for those who don't know, ATP is like the tiny batteries powering your brain cells.
Yeah, it's the energy currency of our cells. And during menopause, your brain might not produce enough ATP, or it burns through it too quickly, leaving you feeling mentally drained. It's like the power grid in your brain is having some issues.
So let's talk about hormone replacement therapy, HRT. Dr. Mosconi calls its history tortured. It's been a roller coaster, hasn't it?
It has. In the mid-20th century, estrogen therapy was huge, seen as a cure-all for menopause, even protection against heart disease and dementia. But then, the Women's Health Initiative study in the 1990s and early 2000s changed everything.
It caused a lot of concern, for sure. It showed increased risks of breast cancer, heart disease, and even dementia associated with HRT. Understandably, people panicked and research slowed down.
But here's the nuance. That study used high doses of synthetic hormones in older women, many way past menopause. We now understand that HRT, especially with lower doses of bioidentical hormones delivered through the skin, can be safer when started during perimenopause to stabilize those fluctuating hormones.
Timing and type of hormones, those are key factors to discuss with your doctor.
Absolutely.
Dr. Mosconi says HRT is currently approved for those vasomotor symptoms, the hot flashes and night sweats, but it's sometimes used off-label for sleep problems and mild depression linked to menopause.
Right. But research on its effectiveness for brain fog is still ongoing, so it's not a recommended treatment for cognitive issues, at least not yet.
And she uses a great analogy. Giving hormones to a woman long past menopause is like putting petrol in a car with a sealed valve. The system isn't set up to use it properly anymore.
Perfect analogy.
It highlights the importance of timing. But regardless of HRT, lifestyle adjustments are crucial. Dr. Mosconi is a huge advocate for diet, exercise, sleep hygiene, stress reduction, avoiding toxins, and of course regular checkups.
Basics, but so important.
Essential. So exercise. Dr. Mosconi says it stimulates brain-supporting proteins, and cardiovascular activity can help with hot flashes and brain fog. Strength training is vital too, not just for muscles, but for metabolism, bone health, and mood. And don't forget flexibility and mind-body practices like yoga, which can really help with stress and sleep.
Right, and she emphasizes moderate intensity exercise done frequently. Interestingly, women in their 40s are the most likely to have inconsistent exercise routines. So if that's you, it's time to prioritize movement for your body and your brain.
Absolutely. And then there's diet. Dr. Mosconi recommends a nutrient-dense, clean approach focusing on brain-boosting foods. Antioxidants from fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, lean protein for those essential amino acids, and those healthy fats from sources like flaxseed, walnuts, and fatty fish.
A Mediterranean-style diet is always a good bet. And there are some interesting links to food, too. Diets rich in legumes and fatty fish are linked to a later menopause, while high intake of sugary drinks, processed foods, and packaged meats might mean an earlier onset, something to keep in mind.
Definitely food for thought. And speaking of caffeine and alcohol, Dr. Mosconi switched to decaf because caffeine can disrupt sleep, which is crucial for brain recovery. And alcohol being dehydrating isn't good for your 80% water brain. It can even worsen menopause symptoms. Staying well hydrated with water that includes electrolytes and minerals is key.
Hydration is huge. And on the topic of things to avoid, Dr. Mosconi is cautious about plastics. She recommends not heating food in plastic or using it in the dishwasher because those microplastics can leach into your food and accumulate in your body over time.
It's not good. Now, supplements. Dr. Mosconi sees them as additions to a healthy diet, not replacements. She mentions omega-3s, antioxidants like vitamin C, and various plant extracts as potentially beneficial. She even includes nani juice and blueberry juice in her routine.
Interesting. Now, how do you know when menopause might be on the horizon for you?
Well, Dr. Mosconi says the best predictor is the age your mother went through it. There's often a similarity in timing and symptoms between mothers and daughters.
Makes sense.
Right. Plus, your experiences during puberty or pregnancy, like mood swings, can offer clues about how you might experience menopause. Having those conversations with your mother about her journey can be incredibly valuable for you.
Absolutely. And lifestyle does play a role. Smoking, poor diet, lack of exercise, those can all contribute to an earlier menopause.
So healthy choices matter. Now, Dr. Mosconi makes a crucial distinction about surgical menopause, which happens when the ovaries are removed, often during a hysterectomy. It's a much more sudden and intense experience compared to natural menopause.
And historically, routine ovary removal during hysterectomies was common, even without medical necessity. Dr. Mosconi points out that surgical menopause is linked to higher risks of cognitive decline, dementia, Parkinsonism, stroke, and anxiety and depression.
It's serious stuff. But thankfully, since 2008, the recommendation is to keep the ovaries whenever possible. Dr. Mosconi stresses the importance of talking to your surgeons about the risks and benefits of ovary removal before making any decisions. You need to be informed.
Absolutely. Her research shows significant gray matter loss in women after oophorectomy who aren't on HRT. And when you compare brain scans of women in different stages of natural menopause, the differences in brain activity are huge, showing that these changes go beyond just normal aging.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, Dr. Mosconi is excited about designer estrogens, also known as elective estrogen receptor modulators, or SERMs. These are designed to target estrogen receptors in the brain with minimal impact on other tissues, potentially reducing cancer risk while supporting brain health. Clinical trials are underway, so it's a hopeful avenue.
It is very hopeful.
Now, let's touch on the grandmother hypothesis. It's an evolutionary perspective that suggests women ceasing reproduction but living longer gave an evolutionary advantage. By supporting their kids and grandkids, they help their genes survive.
Makes sense, right? Humans have a long period of childhood dependency, so that grandmotherly support would have been crucial.
Absolutely. Now, here's something encouraging. Dr. Mosconi mentions increased happiness in postmenopause for many women. Research shows many report greater life contentment later on, and neurologically, there's a dampening of negative emotions in the amygdala, which could contribute to emotional stability and joy. It's not all doom and gloom.
No, not at all.
Though divorce rates might go up during the transition, as women reevaluate their lives.
It's a time of reflection, for sure, and it's a huge issue globally. Dr. Mosconi points out that by 2025, 1 billion women will be experiencing or have gone through menopause.
1 billion. That's a lot of brains going through this renovation project.
It is. So understanding menopause is vital for supporting women and for everyone, really. More awareness, research, and open conversations are crucial to destigmatize this natural stage of life and improve support and treatment.
Absolutely. And Dr. Mosconi's work is driven by this commitment to validate women's experiences, to understand the menopause brain, and to find solutions and choices for this phase of life.
It's powerful work. And on that note, this deep dive into the science of menopause and its impact on the brain has been incredibly insightful. It's way more than just the end of fertility. It's a neurological transition we all need to understand better.
I hope this has given you valuable knowledge and some aha moments about this life stage. Understanding the biology of menopause can empower you to navigate it more effectively and advocate for your own well-being.
Absolutely. And if you want to keep exploring fascinating topics like this one, be sure to visit 1337podcast.com for more deep dives.
Thank you for joining us.
See you next time.
Strength and honor. I am Spartacus.
Thanks for watching. Tap into 1337podcast.com.